Okay, last but not least, and this is perfect timing, Captain Dan Mahoney is our last inductee, and it just so happens that we won the Ranger Challenge competition, and now I'm begging for donations so I can buy more ammunition for the cadets. Can't get enough from the Army, so we got to buy some on our own. Oh, by the way, who's an inductee this year? He happens to own a store who might be able to help us out. So perfect timing. I'd like to say I planned that, sir, but I'm not that good. But our final inductee for the class of 2012, and before I start that, I think I did see Dr. Garceau. Ma'am, if you could please, if you missed my good words about you, if you could please just stand up very briefly. My boss here on the university, and again, so we can publicly acknowledge the support that she gives to military science long before I showed up. And if you go down and you make it over to Brooks and you see the refurbished cadet lounge, we're still putting the finishing touches on it, but we couldn't have done that out without Dr. Garceau. And we certainly could not have gotten the Millennium Center today without your support. And that's just two of them, a whole long line of things you've done for us over the course of the years, ma'am. And so I truly appreciate the support you give us. Thank you. So, I'm sorry, Captain Mahoney. Sorry for that. The final inductee for the class of 2012. Sir, if I may, you're an excellent example of how the ROTC program develops leaders who dwell not only on the battlefield, but who take the skills, the leadership skills that we teach them in the ROTC program, and who are able to apply them on the civilian side long after the time they've taken off the uniform. Captain Mahoney earned his commission through the Buck Battalion in 1966, went on to serve on active duty for a short period with the Transportation Corps stationed overseas in Thailand. Following active duty, he continued his service as a reserve officer for an additional decade. In addition to his second lieutenant bars, Captain Mahoney also emerged from ETSU with a bachelor's degree in business administration, which he has obviously put to good use with the success and expansion of his Mahoney's Outdoor Outfitters store. Much more than a successful businessman, he served in an exhaustive list of community leadership positions to include election to the Johnson City Commission, as well as serving as mayor of Johnson City in the early 1990s. He currently serves on a number of boards, and this is just a small sampling. These boards relevant to ETSU and our community to include the Mountain State Health Alliance Foundation, the Sequoia Council Boy Scouts, the Salvation Army, and the Tri-Cities Airport Commission. Remaining tied to his alma mater, Captain Mahoney served as the ETSU Alumni Association President, is a member of the ETSU Foundation, as well as a member of the College and Business and Technology Board of Advisors, and oh, by the way, also an inductee to the CBAT Hall of Fame. He and his wife, Katie, are members of the ETSU Distinguished President's Trust. Always appreciative of his development from the ROTC program, the Mahoney family continues to sponsor an annual scholarship that's given each year to a second-year cadet in the Buck Battalion. Now, speaking for the Buck Battalion cadre, we pride ourselves in developing leaders, and we are tasked first and foremost to develop Army leaders, but these skills will serve the individual and, more importantly, the nation and the local community over the course of a lifetime. And Dan Mahoney is an exceptional example of this, and so we are very, very proud to add him to the ranks of our Hall of Fame. Sir.
Thank you. When Colonel Jantras came to see me last fall and told me about this award, I said, why me? He told me the other two that were getting the award, and I said, why me? I said, you know I'm out of place in that crowd. He said, well, to tell you the truth, we've run out of generals and admirals to give this to. So I'm honored to be given this award. Really honored. This is really good. And Frank, I've been to these before, and this is a really good crowd for the ROTC. And I'm thinking, man, the support that the ROT is getting now, it's just great. I want to thank Dr. Nolan for being here, Dr. Bach, and we'll see Dr. Bishop, but she's a big part of the ROTC program. Congressman Rowe, Colonel Bishop. I mean, this is really an honor for us to be up here and listening to this. Now, how would you like to be up here giving a speech when you've heard Admiral Anderson and what he's done? He has put more men through Annapolis Naval Academy. I can remember Jimmy Quillen saying, Admiral Anderson calls me up every week with another name. He wants to get an appointment to Annapolis. Now, that's the truth. He's putting more men through Annapolis, I think, than anybody. Just a long-standing invitation up there for him to come by. And then how would you like to be up here with the commander of the Delta Force? I mean, we've all heard about the Delta Force. And this is the man right here, coming right here from Johnson City. I'm just honored to be up here. I grew up in Johnson City, came up through the high school, Science Hill here, went to ROTC. 4 years in ROTC at Science Hill, and then I came to ETSU, and like I think was said earlier, just 2 years mandatory ROTC back then in the 60s. And I can remember where the mini dome is right now, that was the football field. It was kind of down in a hole, and when everybody from the university would walk around that, look down in there, they'd see the brigade. I think there was about 4 battalions, and they were full. I mean, 200 in a company or more. But I mean, that whole field was nothing but military uniforms. First 2 years was mandatory, and then the second 2, you went on into the advanced. But I mean, back then, military was king in the high school and in the university. And I'm glad to see it's coming back. I don't think it was announced. It may have been. It was announced in our business meeting about the Ranger, Eddie Reed Ranger School here and the advancements that they're doing, and they're in national honors right now. They're in the top 8 in the country. That's going up against the big schools for activities that they're involved in, and this is great for ETSU. I married my wife right here in Johnson City from ETSU, met her at the Wesley Center here on campus, the Methodist Center, and married her. We had a son, Sean, who came to ETSU and graduated in business. His wife, Amy, from Abingdon, who came to ETSU and graduated here. And my 2 granddaughters, Madison and Morgan. Would you please stand? I know you don't want to, but thank you. Would you all please stand? I wouldn't be where I am at the store if it wasn't for my son. You know, how many families have the opportunity to have 3 in a business? You know, my dad started it, and then I came in. Now my son's taking it too right now. So it's really been good, and I've enjoying it. And how do you think I get to do all these things in Johnson City unless I've got a family like that behind me that's pushing and taking care of business? Well, I enjoy that. When I came to the university, that was the draft days. Everybody wanted to get into the ROTC Corps and become an officer because nobody wanted to go to Vietnam as a private. Well, I came in, I became an officer and went to Fort Eustis Transportation Corps, then went to the 101st Airborne in Fort Campbell for about 6 months, and then I was shipped out to Thailand as a captain, not a captain, but as a first lieutenant, brand new, right out of the ranks, right out of school, went right into Thailand, Sattahip, Thailand. And I remember that the captain that I was replacing over there, we were walking through Sattahip, Thailand. No, it was in Karat, just getting in there. And there was 4 Buddhist monks walking down the road toward us. And he looked at me and he says, one of them's got grenades under their robe. And I said, how do you know that? He says, you'll find out real fast. But anyway, I'll always remember some of those things and some of the things that we did. And I spent a year in Thailand, not a long military career, but it was long enough to teach me the Army discipline. And you cadets back there, that Army discipline has meant more to me in my lifetime than anything else I've done. It's put me through civilian political circles. Congressman Rowe is an example of the political circles here in Johnson City and where it's gone to, becoming the figure that he is in Washington. But anyway, it's done well for me. And I remember when I came back from Southeast Asia, nobody cared. Nobody said thank you. It was just, you came back and you got into civilian life and everything was just status quo. And then 9/11 came about. And since then, the military, you can't go to any meetings anywhere or any social functions without somebody saying, I don't want everybody that's been a military person, past and present, to stand up, and we're going to honor you. This happens everywhere now, and I'm thinking, that's the difference. Now the military is looked upon, and they're really relegated back to the top of the heap where they ought to be, because that's what keeps this country strong. You cadets back there, you're in for a lifetime of real enjoyment. And what you learn in the military is going to take you out into life, into areas that you may get into politics, you may get into business, you may stay in the military, you may do a lot of things, but you're going to look back years from now and you're going to say, that military experience taught me a lot, and I am very glad I got into it at that time. I want to thank, I see General Hyatt here. General Hyatt, did you know that he dug my foxhole when I was in Scabbard and Blade here at ETSU? Now, isn't that good? I can remember all the times at ETSU back then when we went to the Optimus camp with the Scabbard and Blade, and we had to go through an awfully lot of training to become a Scabbard and Blade members. I don't know what you have to do today, but I'm sure the initiation is pretty good and it's well worth it. But anyway, I want to thank the university. It's an honor to come out here and do things for the university. Everybody here in the audience, the more you do for the town, the more you do for this university, the more you're going to feel like you're involved in it, and the more you're going to feel proud of it. It's ETSU pride, and that goes to the military and to the university, and it'll carry right on with you through life. Be proud of what we've got going. Be proud of the military, and I congratulate and salute all of you in the cadet ranks back there. Thank you.